Hello, everyone. Welcome to NUFC Talk TV. Good evening, good evening, good evening. We got the mighty Win, Gary, of course, Paul in the channel, in the chat right now. We're not in the chat, in the show. You guys are in the chat. So welcome to all of you. And, of course, the usual stuff. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new. Become a member if you can. If you want us to highlight your comment and talk about it, you can send a super chat or a super sticker, whatever it is. And, of course, we appreciate all that support. As you know, Darren Eales, we had to make a show. We were going to be off today. But with this industry, you never know until the last minute. So of course, Darren Eales came out and spoke. The mighty Win was on the piss. He had to rush back, and we had to talk about this. He's talked about PSR. By the way, yes, at 10 p.m. the Hoof the Twat show is going to be on still. They're going to do their show, so don't worry. But as you know, they don't usually focus on the latest news. They talk about good stuff. It's a laid back show and full of hilarity, but we had to come on and talk about the news, man, because tomorrow was probably going to be too late, to be honest with you. And Darren Eales talked about PSR, talked about Eddie Howe, he talked about Minteh and Anderson leaving the club. He's talked about a lot of things, and of course, where are our finances at this point in time? And we're going to basically review the whole interview, which is about 9-minute video. So we got about 40, 50 minutes to do that anyway. And we're going to dissect exactly what we think he said, what we think he means. And of course, just basically everything he said on this 9-minute interview with NUFC TV. So how are you doing, folks? Welcome. Paul.
Very good.
Gary, mighty Win. Thank you for, being so... wanted to come on and
for coming back from me 1 day off on the drink.
Yeah, man, he was on the piss and then he rushed back.
And then we get message saying you're not going to make it. So I said, well, I can't leave Gary on his own. And then I found
I had the kids, man.
Paul was coming.
I had the kids, man, but now my mom saved the day. So hoorah!
Hoorah for moms!
There you go. All right, so we got the interview lined up here, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, Gary, if you see any comments that are good about the topic of discussion, bookmark it so we can read it later on. We exactly got 57 minutes before the Hoof the Twat show goes, so we got to get started quickly. We don't ever want to run into those guys for sure.
Cramp their style.
Shout out to everybody in the chat: Japadoni, Mason, John, KUP, Michael, everybody that's on there. Appreciate your support as usual. AG as well. So. All right, so let's get to it. Let's talk about what Darren Eales has said. Let's start with it. We're gonna play it. It's gonna be loaded.
Thanks for joining us here at Adidas's HQ in Germany. How good is it for Newcastle to be invited here?
Oh, it's brilliant. Obviously, Eddie and the players are loving it. I mean, this is Adidas headquarters. It's the sort of base camp that Germany have used in preparation for major tournaments. And for us, in that first week of sort of pre-season, it's a perfect base because everyone's self-contained. Obviously, got great training facilities. Adidas have been brilliant in terms of looking after us. And I think, what better way for us to launch the start of pre-season, but also the start of our partnership with Adidas. It's been superb.
It is the launch of pre-season, but it feels like it's already been quite a busy summer, certainly in terms of the flurry of transfer activity at the end of last month. Can you talk us through that?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost a new phenomenon now in football where we have this sort of PSR deadline. As we've always spoken about, we want to be compliant from a PSR perspective. The good news is we are compliant now, and the way that PSR works is we've now got basically a new cycle that kicks into play. So we had a couple of years where we were 70 million in losses. So that meant that it was quite tight for us at the end of this financial year to 30th of June. But now we lose one of those years with the 70 million. So that good news for the supporters and for the club is that looking forwards now, we've got a new cycle and we've got.
Wait. So he's talking about the 70 million when they got to the club? Or, I mean, well,
yeah, where they are.
Basically, when Ashley was there,
right, he left
we were never in debt.
Yeah.
No.
So when the club took over, they had 3 years of non-debt that they could then spend, so that after that first year, that was gone. What they'd spent, the 235s that they were entitled to, if you like, that could be that 70 million, 235, 70 million in debt. and still not exceed the 105 million in the the year that they were in. So the bottom line is now that they've always gone to the limit, but now we've got 35 million effectively that we're going to do in debt in the coming year, and we're bang up to date. We're currently 70 million in the last 2 years.
All right, let's keep listening.
New revenues coming online. So things like Adidas, the fact that we have that partnership, we have the merchandise that we get from Adidas. St. James's Stack is going to open in time for the new season. So all of those factors help us. But what it did mean was we were in a situation where there were certain trades that we had to do. And one of the unintended consequences of the PSR regime that no one foresaw, I think, when it was brought in, was you're incentivized to move those players that are homegrown or have a low net book value. So, Elliot Anderson is an example of a player homegrown player, that we love, but in the end, it was the right deal for us to do at that time. And, we wish him the best at Nottingham Forest. The same with Yankuba Minteh, who's going on to Brighton. But for us, for where we were, those were the deals that made the most sense.
Yeah, 2 players left. A player came in, but ultimately you got to keep a lot of really important players as well.
Yeah, so obviously we kept the core of our sort of our older players, I'd say. Also as well, Lloyd Kelly coming in. Obviously Lewis Hall was made permanent, so bringing in those new additions. And now I think it's an interesting time we live in, because I think back to my experience in America, where we had a salary cap, a very strict salary cap, and almost now under financial fair play, in effect, it's like a salary cap. So what that means is every single decision you make has ramifications. So we have to be as efficient as and effective as we can on all decisions. And that might be contract extensions, that might be trading players out, that might be bringing players in on loan. All of those factors have a laddering effect. So I think, going forwards now, I spoke about it being a new cycle, but every decision's still got to be circumspect, made carefully. And I think that's the difference now. It's gone from the days of it being about what the wealth of a particular ownership is, because as we know, with our ownership, we will spend to the maximum we can under the available headroom. It's more about how do you efficiently spend those resources.
With that in mind, then.
And by the way, if you feel like you need to stop the video, let me know. So if you want to interject, have something to say. So far,
a couple of things you said already. One was, which I haven't heard anywhere officially, the Stack will be open for the start of the season.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because a lot of the speculation had been that it wouldn't be open by the start of the season. That it would take a couple of weeks after, a few weeks after that. But he's just actually said the Stack will be open for the start of the season.
Yeah,
I think
news.
Go on, Paul.
No, I think the initial push is to try and get it done before the Cellar Cup, but that's tough. But I know they would prefer it open for that event as a sort of like, hey, this is what we have. But that's big.
Yeah, that would be great. But we were led to believe from various reports that it wasn't actually going to be open until about September.
Yeah.
And so what he's saying is that it's going to be open before that. Fingers crossed.
There's still a long way to go of this transfer window. What can fans expect from it?
Well, look, I think from our perspective, we're excited about the season ahead. We think we've got the core of a really good squad going into that season, but we're always looking to strengthen. I think we'll always try to do that within our means. I think we'll be looking. We've obviously got Paul Mitchell coming on as our sporting director, who's just joined us. So with him and Eddie, that will be what they'll be looking at. Is, are there areas we can improve and strengthen our squad within the headroom that we've got? And so, as you say, we've still got a couple of months left in the window, and we'll always be looking and striving to see what we can do. How can we be innovative? How can we be thinking outside the box to strengthen the squad?
And the club's commercial revenue.
Well, that's interesting. We're going to spend within our means, but so just maybe the tone that I get from Darren is that maybe the means might not be a lot.
Except that what he did say, again, first time I've kind of heard it, even though we all knew it, we will always spend
within our means.
We will always spend the maximum that we are allowed to. Yeah, that's very
within the headroom, isn't it? It was what he's sort of trying to say is we will reach the ceiling and not try and get into the situation like we did this 3 years, where we had to sell one that obviously never kicked a ball for the black and whites, but obviously we had to sell one of our own ground. And what he's alluding to there is we don't want to get down the Chelsea route where we have to sell our own ground.
Yeah, but I just thought it was interesting. They said we will always spend the maximum that we're allowed to spend. So he was saying, you can be the richest owners, or you can have the most money, but you've got these rules. Yeah, we will always spend the maximum we're allowed to.
Yeah. All right.
And the good thing is what he's saying, Eddie. He's not. There's no like the manager, or there's no ambiguous. In his head, Eddie Howe is the manager. I know we're probably going to get into it later, but
he said Eddie and Paul are going to take.
He did say he mentioned Paul Mitchell.
There's no like, hey, he might be going to England or whatever. The
okay, I understand. So I get what you. Well, I think he's going to get to that, isn't he? Didn't he say something like that? Well, we're going to take a look and take a listen.
Revenue, it's clearly improved a lot over the last couple of years, but is there more in the pipeline? What can you tell us about those sort of movements?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's quite incredible when you look back at, takeover 140 million was the last sort of accounts in terms of revenue. Went from 140 to 180 to 250. This coming season that's just finished will be north of 300. So that's an annual compound growth rate of over 30% year on year, which is phenomenal. And I think, that just goes to the great work that ownership did right from the very start in terms of, building this club and showing the sort of the headroom and what we all know, it's a special club with great potential. And we're seeing that now with our partners. I think with Seller, our front of shirt, our fans will have seen some of the amazing activations. So, we're seeing that our partners are activating. Obviously, Adidas has come on board, which we're really excited about. And we've got a number of, companies in the background that are seeing this, that are in our pipeline that will hopefully be announcing in the coming months.
Look at that. But that's 30. That's imagine. 30% increase every year. That is impressive, man.
It's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal.
That is impressive. I mean, you're talking about the next 10 years, the club will be worth a lot of money, man, and quickly too. And it's self-sustained, so it's not like PIF. Yeah, they do have a lot of money, but it's not like they grab £1 billion and they just put it into the Newcastle account. That doesn't work like that. It's not that easy. So they have to generate their own income, and so it's pretty remarkable stuff, to be honest. What is it? Training ground sponsor next? Yeah, we'll see if they do with the stadium. I don't know.
And we've got, he specifically mentioned there, we've got people lined up to come on board.
Yeah.
And all of the background noises. These aren't tuppence halfpenny companies that are coming on board. This is like Saudi, Aramco, the Saudi telephone company.
Yeah, the company. So, that's what David T saying. Number of companies in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's telling, isn't it?
That is interesting. And of course, but I believe, Mighty, when you mentioned something about that he said adding people to the background, or because one of them could to better the experience of Newcastle was the addition of this guy from Manchester, the work at Manchester Airport.
Manchester Airport,
for the IT development and all that stuff. So they are literally focused on a lot of things. It seems like that need to be fixed, that we as fans sometimes don't really pay attention too much about that stuff. We look at the game, we look at the pitch, but I mean, just a minor thing that we had, well, maybe not minor because people are paying for these friendly games, but what we had going on during the game after the season, I don't know if it was Australia or the other one that, or both in Australia, but where the game wasn't, it wasn't up to par. And so
the televising on the NUFC.
Yeah. All right.
News broke at the end of last week that Amanda Staveley and Mehrdad Ghoussi would be stepping away after almost 3 years. What can you say about what they achieved at Newcastle United?
Well, I think we saw it with the fan reaction. I mean, Amanda and Mehrdad were there in terms of bringing the ownership group together and, you know, having the takeover take place. And I think the tenacity that they showed in terms of that long journey, because it wasn't just, you know, as everyone knows, it wasn't a week, it wasn't a month, it was years in the making in terms of that happening. And then the work they've done in putting together the foundations for the club on the long term, you know, they'll always be, you know, our fans and the club will always be thankful to Amanda and Murdad. And, you know, I'm excited to see their forces of nature, as everyone knows, and, you know, exciting to see what they do next in terms of business opportunities.
You mentioned earlier about Paul Mitchell coming in as the new sporting director. What made him stand out, and what do you think he can bring to the role to really move the club forward and move with the club's ambitions?
Yeah, we were really excited to bring Paul on board. And I think, you know, firstly, he's one of the top sporting directors in the world. But I think, you know, and in discussing this in terms of with ownership and with Eddie of what we really were focusing on in our sporting director, I think Paul brings, you know, exactly what we needed. So really strong in recruitment. So a background that came up through the recruitment ranks. The fact that he obviously knows the Premier League from his time at Southampton and Tottenham. But also he's got that more global vision as well, because he's worked with Monaco, so in France, but also with Red Bull. So not only Leipzig, but he was doing the global technical director role at one stage. So club in Brazil, club in America. So I think that sort of all around view of the role, it was something that really attracted us. But, you know, ultimately, and we've spoken about this, you know, recruitment is the biggest aspect of that sporting director role. And it was really important for us, that partnership between Eddie and Paul in terms of getting us, and I've spoken about it already, you know, it's about how do we use our resources to get the best tools for Eddie to put out on the pitch. And that's what they'll be working together, you know, over the coming years in terms of us doing that from window to window to strengthen and improve the squad.
And following on from that.
All right.
Coming years. Love it.
In the coming years.
Yeah.
Interesting about Paul Mitchell. I'll be honest, I was doing a show yesterday with a Spurs fan, and he told me, man, you have no clue the type of guy you got, you know, with Paul Mitchell. You know, really, really good and a genius. He also said if something happens with Eddie, you should bring Pochettino in, because that duo at Southampton was unbelievable. What they did at Spurs as well, obviously,
and at Spurs before, and everybody's roaring.
But this guy seems like I didn't really rate him too much just based on knowledge. I wasn't really knowledgeable of him, so I couldn't say negative or positive. But it does seem like from what everybody's saying that he is a class guy.
Well, you've only got to look at the amount of Man United fans. I mean, even after they got Ashworth, you know, from us, as soon as we signed Mitchell, it was as if they'd flipped the coin again. And it was like, have we got the right man? Because literally everybody that you speak to, Southampton, Spurs, everybody that this lad's been linked to, because of the way he's managed his career, and that's working from grassroots up, he hasn't left anything unturned. He's tried every aspect of how to talk to players, communicate with players, obviously try and drive the best bargain for the club. I don't know, like there's always going to be doubts and question marks when a new guy comes into a club, because we're all expecting us to hit the ground running. Now, he's got this ability to pick or locate players that are unheard of or not main stars, and I think sometimes what you get when that happens is you have and almost you get this feeling that you need to bring a star player in just to appease individuals. Now, I don't know for me whether that is right or wrong. I think at the end of the day, you've got to give this lad a chance to bring in the player, and then you can critique it post the signing. And I think that's what we've got to do. We've got to allow him to do the process. What does make me laugh, and what I am really interested in, is now they're all Central Europe in Germany, and that's all of them that will be going out and signing these players. It's a hop, skip and a jump from where they are now to any other country to have a discussion with any potential signings. So I think that's the reasons why they've chosen Germany. I know they were invited, but as a central hub for the likes of Mitchell, Eales and Eddie to sit down in a room and discuss these signings one-to-one. And like I say, it literally is a small stone throw away to go and have a chat with these guys now.
Yeah. Anybody got anything else on this particular part on Paul Mitchell? I mean, we'll have to see, obviously. But
Well, your pal from Spurs yesterday summed it up, didn't he? Poch and Mitchell are a match made in heaven. Now he's got Eddie here now,
so he's gonna have to make that work,
But how long is Eddie going to be here for? And if Eddie goes, you know me, I love a happy ending. It could be written in the rainbows.
Yeah. But I mean, Eddie ain't going anywhere.
We're ready to get the England job, and Poch come in.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see about that, old man.
It's win. If that were to happen,
well, I don't know.
I don't want Eddie to go. By the way, I do not want Eddie to go.
Some say that the Pochettino might be looked up by the USA or England as well. So we'll see. All right, let's continue.
Englishman for England.
Well, you've brought in James Bunce as performance director. Why was that such a key appointment?
That was really important. I mean, look, I think we've seen last season in terms of some of the injury issues that we had, and this was a role that we discussed before the change in sporting director with Eddie, of having somebody as a performance director so they could oversee medical and sports science. So an innovative role. It's increasingly, I think, going to come into play at clubs around the globe, but we felt that this was an important person for us to get. So then to be able to get somebody that, from Paul's perspective, he'd worked with in Monaco, that's got that breadth and experience in this specific role, is really important to us. And we go into this season, hoping that from our perspective now, we can get more of our players out on the pitch, with more availability. Because again, when we look at how do we sort of punch above our weight, how do we get to where we want to get to as quick as we can, we also, one of those factors is, can we get the best out of the squad we've got in terms of availability? So this was a really important hire.
Brilliant.
And we're really delighted to have got James here ready to start for pre-season as well.
Yeah, we needed a little bit of clarification on that position because we didn't know what it was going to be. But clearly they saw an issue with the injuries all the time, the lack of availability from players and stuff like that. And so they're bringing somebody in basically to say the truth, analyze all year what's going on here, who's at fault, who isn't. Or what is at fault? Maybe there's not a person, but what's going on there? So that's pretty interesting.
We covered that, didn't we, the other day when we were saying about what this gentleman's role is. And I said these guys are specifically looking at how to delay or even stop injuries. So they'll look at the gait, the way they walk, the way they stretch, every single thing. And obviously what they'll do then is, where young lads now are keen to get on the weights, and it could be the fact that they're getting too muscle bound to be an athlete, like a footballer. And sometimes those muscle fibers can get damaged just during a weight session. So what these guys will be looking at there is limiting these type of sessions, not to stop them, because at the end of the day, you still need to get toned and you still need to prep the muscle. But they may stop the amount of weight that's lifted, and maybe create more of a rep rather than a weight, because you can still get the same style of training without using the over weights, if you like, the amount of weights.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
And with all that in place now, finally, Darren, really, what are the ambitions? What are the hopes for the season ahead?
Well, look, I think it's exciting. It's that time of year, isn't it, where we've got the hope and we're thinking about, okay, disappointed that we didn't get into Europe when we were so close. And we're very unfortunate. I think we're the only club that's finished 7th in the last 10 years that didn't make Europe. But on the positive side, and the glass being half full, we've got a chance now to focus on that Saturday to Saturday where we don't have a distraction of Europe and really give it a go in the Premier League. And we want to be competing in tournaments. I mean, last season we got to the quarterfinals of both the FA Cup and the League Cup. First time we've done that in over 20 years. So we want to be competitive, want to be competing for trophies. But I think for us and where we are on our journey, trying to make Europe, we expect to really be in Europe. And I think that's got to be the aim for us as a club next season, that we're qualifying for Europe.
All right. Well, that was They jumped to Aaron Rubenstein's YouTube channel. Well, he's yelling, man. You got to lower your mic, man. But anyways, so I mean, overall, what are your thoughts and your thought process through everything that Darren Eales has come out and said about everything? I mean, he's really first of all, he came out and talked about basically all the talking points that most Newcastle fans want to know, what they have answers about. Yeah,
I think that is exactly it, Chris. I think we've had, there's been questions for the last few weeks now. Why haven't we got any sales in? Why haven't we done this? And now, obviously, we've got Southgate leaving his job as England manager, and all of a sudden, we've got Eddie Howe that's going to be the next England manager, and it all sounded like doom and gloom. So this actual interview has actually come out at the perfect time, because he has addressed a lot of the questions, and I'm hoping the responses that the fans will get is the same response as us four have got, which is a very positive reaction to some of the questions or the doubts that people had. He's addressed the fact that we were in arrears, and it's been sorted. We're no longer in arrears. We've now got a new financial year, and we're going to spend as much as we can, as long as we hit the ceiling, or the headroom, as he says, without going over. So I think everything that he said has actually, all it's done is it's literally crossed the T's and dotted the I's, in my opinion. I think he's done an amazing interview, and it's refreshing to hear the CEO from any club come out and be as positive as he's done by addressing the fans that way.
Well, we've been so used to, when we had Ashley, and I hate to remind people of that twat, but, when we're under him and we weren't doing nothing, and the fans are going, what's the plan? What are we doing? We've gone through managers, we've gone through players, we've sold some of our best players. What is the plan? What's going on? And nothing. You get nothing from the club.
Stay in the Prem. That was his only plan.
You get a yearly statement where he's like, we'll spend every penny possible. Yeah, you did spend pennies all about all the bloody Sports Direct mugs you sold. That's the only pennies we got out of you twat. And it's just so bored of getting nothing from the club. And then the new owners come in and finally, at least something, at least they're talking to it, at least they're saying hey, this is what we're doing. This is the plan. This is, and it's so refreshing to hear from what is going on. Again, the club have no need to tell us anything. They could be quiet. They don't have to tell us what's going on. They could keep quiet on Eddie, keep quiet on PSR, blah, blah, blah. But they know that the fans have been so sick and tired of it, and they've built this really good relationship. And again, thanks to Manda and Mehrdad have done a lot of this back work as well. And that's a good thing. They've kept on the front foot. That Darren Eales is definitely going to be the face of Newcastle for going forward. If there's going to be a big announcement or whatever, he's probably going to be the person you see, in front of the camera. And it just makes it feel more like we're together. Again, like someone's already said, he keeps saying we, and again, it's those small things that make a big difference to fans, because they're not seeing it as a company, they're not seeing it as a 9-to-5 job. They, clearly you can tell, in an interview, he cares about.
It's not them and us. It's
we, yeah. And it's just so refreshing. It's just, people were worried when Amanda and Mehrdad obviously left, but it was obviously part of the plan.
Right.
You've got new people in, and the club needs that. You can't just, the club goes stale if you keep the same people. So for me, it's only positive.
Hell yeah, man. Mighty Wayne, you've been quiet, man. You're thinking about the Bruin, man.
No. I just think it's refreshing. I think it's wonderful that Amanda's gone, but we've got another face now to get used to. Spouting out, and I love his pilot's uniform. So if somebody's gonna be flying the 747 Newcastle United, I am very happy that it is Captain Darren. There you go.
Yeah, man. Well,
brilliant.
It was.
That's another thing, though, Chris. Do you not find it refreshing the fact that all of the coaches have got a different colour? So you've got the head coach in black, you've got the other coaches in white, you've got the guys training in red. Everybody now actually on the training ground has got a uniform. and can be identified direct by their uniform. I think that's a really nice touch.
Hell yeah, man! I love it. I haven't gotten my Adidas kits yet, man, but I need to. But I actually need to go to a city.
They're out
and
on
just be able to drive
Temu
it.
now, so you're all right.
Well, I need to go buy from where Dom gets his jerseys, man. His shirts, man. He'll get the 2025 shirt right now over there in Malaysia, man. They got everything. They already got everything, man. That's unbelievable. But yeah, I wonder what they're in Germany right now.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they're gonna or when they're gonna unveil the away shirts. That's something that fans are also.
August, I think it is.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think it's August.
I thought it may be unveiled in the Japan tour.
Well, they're going to do it for the Japan tour. Now that you said it, because they usually do that anyway. I mean, they show their. I remember the green shirt. They showed it in America against Chelsea. I think I can't remember, but or maybe not. Maybe the other one.
Maybe the third kit will be the Salah Cup, there, mate.
Maybe it could be the Salah Cup.
I'm going to say that's what I thought. It'll be the white strip for the Salah Cup.
Yeah.
Pierre saying Dom unveiled the away kit
last week. Yeah. Hell yeah, man. That is hilarious. He sure did.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, brother.
Let's have a look at the start in the chat, mate.
Let's go to the start comments
by
right
the
there.
way, can I just say one thing? Sorry, it's unrelated to anything, but Southgate, fuck you fraud. I'm glad you're at the job, you prick.
I'm sure we'll come on to that.
It's the final again, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, we'll have time to discuss that. We'll definitely have time to discuss that.
Two finals, you bastard.
Yeah. AG says it's funny all these pundits wanting Eddie Howe now for England, but slate him not elite makes no sense. Not being elite.
Well, isn't that similar to Paul Mitchell? Because when Man United were after Paul Mitchell, a couple of their big channels did kind of a mini documentary on Paul Mitchell and how great he was and how and now they're all saying, I'm pleased we missed out on him. After having done 20-minute pieces on how great he was and all the players inside what a great job he did. He made Poch what he is and all this sort of shit. And then as soon as he's got your girlfriend, your girlfriend's a Miss World, well, you're with her, and she goes away. Well, she was a dog anyway,
Yeah. We've got Big Dan. As,
what was the comment? I don't see it. What's my computer messing up, man? It says it's funny. Oh, I said that. David T. Whatever happens with Eddie, I'm comforted. Comfort, man. What?
Comforted.
I haven't seen that word ever, man. The English folks, keep it simple, man.
Happy.
You're talking like
that is simple.
You're talking like Shakespeare over here, man. Come on now.
What?
No, they won't.
Forsooth.
Come on, man. With your thighs and these, man. Sound like an Old Testament over here. Anyway, well, he's comforted with the fact that behind the scenes we have built a great structure with potentially the best in the business. Yeah,
and that's the one thing about the timing of which I said last week. The timing of Amanda going.
Yeah,
she left after the Paul Mitchell's performance coach came in, and basically that was the last piece of the backroom jigsaw.
Yeah,
the only one they're looking for now is this stats man to come in.
People are coming at me in the chat, man. Comforted. No, that was just a brain fart, man. No worries. Beard says, I got a feeling that you follow Mighty Win financial advice from your business. You would end up in prison for a long time. The money was just resting in my account.
At the moment, they're letting about 30% of the prisoners out of prison in the UK because we're full apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta have to build you an Alcatraz somewhere.
Go to China. They'll build a new prison in a fortnight.
Or you can do it like you guys did us. I'm watching the documentary, by the way, on the when the Independence Times award that we had against you guys. You guys used to put us on boats, man. Do the same thing.
Yeah.
Put them in jail in boats, man. Just leave them there starving to death. Oh, man, good times. Jumpadani saying we've doubled our income.
Yeah. Prison hulks.
Yeah. We've doubled our income, though, in 2 years already, and the interview goes on to suggest it more, I believe. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
that's
pretty good, though. And see, I do believe that there is a chance. There is a chance because that gets criticized a lot, especially with Man City. It's just they're the only ones doing it. Nobody really talks about Chelsea because their takeover was 1 million years ago, and it feels like it literally is 1 million years ago when it was actually this century. But then City came on, and they get scrutinized a lot because why do they make the same as Real Madrid or more? Why did it? And at the end of the day, although Real Madrid is a huge brand, or in Barcelona or whatever, it's still at the end of the day is how you run the business. Yesterday, again, we go back to the conversation that I had with Stelios from Tottenham Way, and he said we are one of the richest clubs in the world. As far as business is concerned, there is nothing to debate. You know, we are one of the greatest businesses out there. But when it comes to football, we're not good at it. So the point is that you don't have to have 100 years of history to be a great business and be one of the richest clubs. So I don't understand why. I mean, I do know why the bantering and all that stuff from United fans, from Man U fans, from all of Arsenal fans, etc., towards Man City because they hate that they just became famous. I guess you could say they crashed the party, and so I do believe that this is very, very much true. What Darren Eales is saying that. Yeah, we are doing well. We're increasing 30% by year if you look at it in hindsight. And potentially, why not? We can be one of the richest clubs in the world. And football success doesn't have nothing to do with that. We got to do it parallel to us growing as a business, I guess you can say. But
don't forget, we've only just done it, haven't we? 3 years. I mean, for 14 years, we've had nothing. We've had no growth in the club because the lad that was there previously, I'm not going to mention his name because I'm sick of mentioning his name, but he pocketed everything that was coming from the club into his pocket to grow his own business. So he had no interest in growing United. He just wanted to grow his own sports outlet. Yeah. And to me, that's where we failed because he was there for far too bloody long.
Yeah. And the only reason that Man City are challenging Real Madrid now in terms of turnover is because Man City play in the Premier League. Notice I said Premier League there for you?
Yeah, but that's good. But I mean, they also do it more than other Premier League teams. So
because the revenue and the publicity and the viewership associated with the Premier League, and therefore the sponsorship deals that you can get on board are so much bigger than any other league in the world.
Yeah, but it's also because they're winning, though, mate, isn't it? It's got nothing to do with the play in the Premiership.
And Man City are winning within that environment.
Yeah.
It helps their Pep Guardiola as their coach as well, quite a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's fairly decent at his job.
Well, because I'm going to look up the table that I was looking at the other day, but Real Madrid also has a bigger, like right now, well, I don't know, this is from 22-23.
50 million
hold on. This is from the website statista.com. From 22-23, Real Madrid is at the top of, and listen, don't take it literal. These bantering fans are not saying that Man City is making more than the Real. It's that they are in the same conversation. Is they're around the area because at this point Real Madrid makes more money than Man City, but Man City is second, and PSG is third. Nobody. What about Premier League there? Barcelona is fourth in that year. Manchester United would be the second Premier League team in that year that made the most in fifth.
Keep on going.
So then you got Bayern Munich. And then you got Liverpool, and then you got Tottenham, and you got Chelsea.
Right, exactly. Once you get past PSG, Real Madrid, and Barcelona, they will all be Premier League teams.
And Bayern Munich. Well, not necessarily. I mean, you got a lot of Italian clubs in there. Actually, in this year, man,
where's the first Italian club in that?
They are under Liverpool, Tottenham, Chelsea, and Arsenal. So Juventus comes on, Borussia Dortmund, AC Milan. So those are, but yeah, I do agree with you that the Premier League brings in a lot of money. They have an incredible marketing strategy they have forever, and so now it's become that, of course, 100%. There's no debate in that. But these people say because
which is why
the Man City shouldn't even be in that conversation, which is bullshit. Yeah. So in this table, Newcastle United is all the way down. I mean, all the way down in, like, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17th in this year with 287 million. So now Darren is saying that we're going to probably be north of 300. Is that what he said?
We're north of 300 last season.
Last season. So this coming up season, imagine.
And this coming season, we've got the Adidas money, we've got the Champions League money.
So it's looking good, man.
We're going to be 400,000 plus on $500 million by 12 months' time.
Niall says supposedly 2 more massive deals are nearly to go, but not been ratified by the Premier League. Well,
and again, this is that Man City APT lawsuit. You know, if potential sponsors do not have to be vetted by the Premier League, we can bring in, I would suspect, more than anybody else.
Yeah.
Comfortably. Maybe PSG could.
Yeah.
Maybe City could bring it a bit more, but I think they are probably up to the hilt already.
But see, every country's got their own advantages and disadvantages. PSG is 3rd in the world, but it's probably the biggest club in France as far as income is concerned. Not trying to get into the history with Monaco and all those, but
yeah,
PSG is owned by Qatar, and so it's literally they literally govern that league, you know. So
we're getting straight into, and this is where all these rules are coming from, because the Red Cartel are American owned, and the whippersnappers are all oil funded. And it's a massive battle right now between USA and the Gulf states. That's what all this legislation.
You mean as like a figure of speech, right? It's a figure of speech, a battle you're talking about, or do you really think that the Kronkers are waking up saying, "Damn, this numpty Saudi got"?
What I'm saying is that for 20 years. And effectively, by the way, Abramovich's money is oil money as well.
Yeah.
Energy money. For 20 years, the Red Cartel had it their own way. And by and large, they were American funded.
Yeah. But I mean, America's also recently got into
the new money, if you like, is coming in and challenging that dominance.
Yeah.
And you know, the numbers don't lie. American corporations haven't got the money that oil states, whole countries have.
Well, just because our state doesn't even get involved in that. If President Biden would say, "Let me buy something,"
we're going to dig.
The United
Let's
States,
dig.
Well, he couldn't even see 6 feet in front of him.
Sorry, drill.
Yeah. Adam,
invest in air piercings.
Alec McMurtry saying, "Evening, guys. Eales sounded positive to me. I believe we have money to spend and how extend the contract going nowhere." He didn't say that about a contract extension, though, did he? In those 9 minutes.
Yeah, I thought somebody said he was coming on to that.
Yeah, but it didn't.
He didn't mention the video, but I think he did a statement somewhere else where he did mention about.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I don't know what it was, but it was definitely. I think it was like a. I don't know if it was like a written statement or whatever, but
okay.
There was a thing later that you did talk about.
Niall, if it is the case that Eddie does go to England, we are a massive attraction to any manager. That's true. I mean, Pochettino would love to go to Newcastle. I guarantee you that. That's one of them that are floating around. I'm assuming Mourinho would love to go. He's in Turkey right now, but we'll have to see. I mean, Eddie's his manager right now, so it doesn't really matter at this point. David T. I've got a feeling the PIF are readying. What? Come on, man. Listen, man. No, David T. You're doing that on purpose, aren't you? Because you're the second time, bro. Themselves to take on the Premier League. They are letting City fire the first shots. Well, I'm not gonna hold my breath and say that City is gonna win this one, but they can, I guess. If it's a fair trial, we'll have to see what happens. Sean says, "Welcome, Sean. Paul Mitchell is fantastic. Can't wait for the next few years of the Premiership. Are going to fear the rise of the Magpies, and we are going to rule everything." Damn, man. I'd be scared to have you. Man, I'm glad you're not living back in the 1700s, man. It would have been tough to beat you in the Revolutionary War. We're gonna conquer and rule everything. Question by Marky Mark. We had a deficit of 70 mil in 21-22, which means we must only have a max debt of 35 million. We don't have any debt, do we? For
we have it now.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we've got it.
Okay, so
we've got the 70 million carrying forward, but we're going to have another 35 this year.
Yeah, this would mean we are carrying over a max 35 million into this 3-year cycle. You put a Q in front of it. I don't know if that's a question.
Darren Eales'
that's a question,
you want, Chris.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what are you showing? What is that?
That's Darren Eales' statement.
About what?
This is Darren Eales. I'm not going to talk about the specifics of Eddie's contract, but he's on a multi-year deal, which was extended last summer. He's our employee, and we're not looking to release Eddie. Asked whether Newcastle would fight to retain now and envisage him being in the post at the start of the season. He said, absolutely yes. Eddie's been an amazing manager, and we are committed to him. He loves the day-to-day of club football, and there's been no recent discussions. According to Darren Eales, Eddie is going nowhere.
Nice.
All right. So that is that. Next one is Alan says, Gary, what is Miley's injury? Is it something that could be recurring in the future?
Metatarsal fractures are obviously bones in the foot. There's the long bone in the foot. Usually with metatarsal fractures, when you're running, there's potential that there could have been an injury, a slight fracture there before that's caused no issue. It's very hard to say without knowing exactly what happened to Miley. But from all accounts, he was going or trying to improve his speed, because last year he was critiqued about being a one-pace midfielder. And I think what he's tried to do this year is go out there early and maybe do some parachute resistance running. And maybe he's on the turn, just got his foot caught up in a ditch or something like that. And you don't know. Without knowing exactly what happened, on the turn, apparently he felt a pain in his foot. And from an examination, they saw that there was a fracture. Now, again, I've read so many different things on Miley's injury. Some said that it needed plated and screws. So that would mean that it was quite a severe fracture. It was displaced. Others say it was just an ordinary fracture. But he has got the 12 weeks, which is what I believe now. He's got a pin and plate in situ. But knowing whether this will return, I mean, to be fair, these often occur by kicking the bottom of your a boot on the studs, because the boots that the players play in today aren't as secure and supportive as the old boots were. So yes, it can reoccur, but whether it will, who knows? And what caused this, again, without knowing how it was done, I don't know. Apparently it was done just during running, which I find sometimes you do get it, but again, it's usually with ill-fitting shoes or from an injury or a weakness that was previously there. The other question you've got to ask yourself, is it from him still growing and there was a weakness within that area from the growth plates? I don't know the answer to that either. It's a potential. But it shouldn't happen again unless he has got issues with his feet.
Yeah. It's probably something that this new chap's going to be looking at for definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Part of their job is to look at the fitness, and maybe he'll say, like, look, this, Mully can do this, he can do that, he can train this much, train that much, play that, so these are the positives of bringing in these experts in the posts. Because we can avoid, it wouldn't be lovely. You're going to get injuries no matter what. I get that, but it'd be lovely to have a season where we're not like only Isaac's fit.
Yeah.
I don't want another season like that, please.
No, we can't have another season like that.
Yeah. All right. David T., I'm sure the club have hired people to look at social media outlets to gauge what fans are talking about. Yeah. That would be certainly smart to do.
Well, either that or the guy that they're looking for, that they're currently advertising for, is going to take that on board as well as part of his department.
Which one? Oh, the guy that...
the statistician. They're looking for a best-in-class...
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
...statistician to analyse matches, video and stats, which he then takes to Eddie and says, we are looking at this, you may think he's doing great, but have you seen actually what he's doing? They're analysing moments in matches, every player's what I call involvements, as you know. And I would say he hate to keep on going back to Sean, but he had 8 involvements in that match.
Yeah.
And 7 of them were shit. and that's exactly what these guys do.
Oh boy. All right, beer biking. The pundits want him to weaken us, so do rival fan. Well, yeah, I mean I'm assuming everybody wants to weaken everybody, right? I mean,
yeah.
Every club wants to win.
Who's the him you're talking about, yeah?
I don't know.
They want him to weaken us. Who's the him?
I think it's Eddie Howe.
They want Eddie Howe to weaken us.
No, the pundits are saying about Eddie Howe coming, go away, and then like to make a disruption type of thing. I think that's what he's trying to get at, and disrupt our pre-season.
I would say though.
I think we've got a Nigerian post on here.
Got an AI.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What happened? Oh, damn, man.
I don't know how she's managed to get all that in 140 characters, but she's done bloody.
See, I wasn't even scrolling. I wasn't even scrolling.
Who started? I didn't start.
Oh, the Brune Nelson.
It's quality.
The Brune Nelson, which if you're on YouTube, you can't see it, by the way. But okay, so look.
My God.
I wonder if we should even show it. Anybody's going to actually fall into this.
No.
Don't. It's a scam by somebody on Facebook. But
De Bruyne, I'm not a God-fearing person, so I'm sorry I can't accept your donation.
Yeah.
If anybody wants 700,000 euros, get in touch with De Bruyne.
No, don't get in touch with him. Don't get in touch.
And she'll pass you on to her Nigerian business partner.
Yeah, but just for clarity though, for Mighty, is if you wanted to spell Chantal, it's there. If you want to spell it that way, I'd spell it E-double-L-A. But I mean, that's it to you.
You're gonna send you to her Nigerian cousin and give you the long
Prince, Nigerian Prince.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my days.
Oh man, that's unbelievable, man. How long we got? 5 minutes until the Hoof the Twat show starts, so we still got a little bit to talk about. We got a few comments here to get to. Keith Downey Allen says broke that about how contract was not announced by the club, but it is true.
There was a load of things came out in the summer that Eddie had signed a new contract, but there was never anything officially said. So Darren Eales saying that today is the first time that it has been confirmed.
Yeah,
as far as I'm aware, first time it's been absolutely confirmed that Eddie signed a new long-term contract, which is great news as far as I'm concerned.
Damn right.
Sean says the Premier League and Richard Masters is running scared of our potential and what we can achieve, says Sean.
That's true.
Richard Masters.
How is he still in a job?
I've got no idea.
He's on a job, man.
Poor.
What a brat, honestly.
Maybe the City lawsuit will be the finish of him.
It should be.
We'll
should
see.
be.
Yeah.
Still surprised we've not heard anything from that.
The day he dismissed Everton was the day he should have lost his job, in my opinion. But there you
go.
Yeah. That's true. That is true. Japadoni says Real and Barca control the Spanish league for so long because of reasons. If no one knows why they are where they are, then they have no idea of the financial abuse.
Yeah,
that's been going on.
Real Madrid is the Spanish government's team, and Barcelona is the Catalonian local government's team. Yeah. And that's where they get their funding from.
Michael, only positive Eddie Howe going to England would be Gordon. Tino, etc., would get to play for the country.
For the country.
I guess, that's one way to look at it.
But hey,
we're not going to bring Sean Longstaff, though. That's the problem.
He's bringing Longstaff on the sheet.
Longstaff going to start every game, man. It's going to be the same thing. Southgate and Maguire all over again, man.
Letting him drop for Sean Longstaff.
Oh,
I think I'm one of the very few people who was very happy that Anthony Gordon didn't get a game.
That's BS,
he can't get injured sitting on the bench.
You're joking because it's BS.
No, he should have played. He should have played.
He would have been perfect against Spain, but Southgate's such a twat.
He should have done something.
I'm so happy he's got mad and he bores my blood, Southgate.
Yeah.
Well, he's going now, man. You ain't got nothing to complain about.
So you can
play to lose,
take a rest.
We flip and play to lose and play to draw in a final. Again, we did the same against
penalties.
It's crazy for him to take all those players and not rotate any of the squad. So come the final, they were literally dead on their feet.
Yeah.
There were so many players literally just unable to play or perform to their best ability because he just didn't rotate the squad enough. And he's played the same players from the opening game to the final. Apart from Arnold, who obviously got dropped for Mainu. And that is it. That's literally the only chance. I mean, I know he
should have put Trenton right back.
Well, I said all along, when you've got like Saka playing a wing back role on the right hand side, there's always going to be a problem because your right-sided centre back then has a lot of ground to cover. And the two goals that we conceded that were obviously down to Walker, if you like, because the one he got the wrong side of him, and a slight deflection. That's fair enough. That took it into his path, but he had an open goal, and obviously against the Spanish guy, again, just let him get the wrong side of him. But is that because obviously he's trying to work two positions? Is his mindset ready to go out wide to close down the space? I mean, we won't know now. But there was a lot of things that we as viewers and commentator in all the games, you could see openly what was going wrong. And like I say, there come a time where the team just wasn't able to perform in the most important game of the tournament, which was the final, which I find absolutely disgraceful.
Sadly, we have reached our 10 o'clock deadline.
We have indeed.
Yeah. We have. They're about to get started. Once they get started, the Hoof the Twat will redirect them. So we'll just wait a little bit until they get it.
They're not knocking on the door yet.
Well, they're not.
Yeah, they are there. They are there. They're just getting their makeup on and everything. You know how that
probably
goes.
waiting.
But anyways, no, it's been a great show. Listen, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Thank you so much.
Just before we go,
Amir Isildur.
Yeah, this one it didn't make me laugh. I don't want to knock. I don't want the audience to think that I'm not against females coming in into a man's game. I'm not at all. I hope that, if she's done the job, then maybe she's good enough. What did make me laugh was McLaren's name. Now, McLaren apparently has suggested that he leaves the Manchester United post and becomes the next England.
Oh,
that was on TalkSport.
Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere because the show continues on Hoof the Twat. You stay right there. You'll get redirected. So don't go anywhere. And David T says, "Great show. I've been comforted by the fact that I gave Kerry's English elocution lessons." Oh man, it's like a bag of, come on, man. This is Shakespeare time, man. Come on now. Anyway,
Don't listen. See you later,
on Hoof the Twat show. See you there.
See you there.